He is the master of sliding in and slipping out of galas, gorgeous parties, restaurant openings, and other seen and be seen events. Columnist Malcolm "Mac" Parry is more than a society sleuth. He is a skilled and impressive photographer and glossy magazine man. Mac Parry joins us today to reflect on some of his happening pictures then and now, and he will talk a bit about himself, his career, and times when life wasn't much of a party. Stay with us for Vancouver Sun's Town Talker, Mac Parry. Good to be here with you today and with scribe, photographer, madman about town, Mac Parry.
Madman.
He was born and educated in England. At one time, he toyed with being a civil engineer or perhaps a traveling saxophone player. When he put those vocations aside, he picked up his camera and his pen and continues to make a living writing and flashing pictures, some which will soon be seen on the trendy walls of the Rennie Collection, at the Wing Sang building, at the Rennie Art Gallery, the private office, the whatever you call it. Hi, Mac.
Hey, baby.
Hey, nice to see you again.
Good enough. And particularly if you don't get me thrown out like last time.
I think we can't tell that story on morning television.
Probably not.
Probably not. But I remember the event because it was Alan Fotheringham's book launch
of some kind, yeah.
When he wrote Birds of a Feather.
Yeah.
And you and I were misbehaving on the back deck, as I
do
recall.
declare.
I do declare. There was so much misbehaving in those days.
It was sort of mandatory, I think. It was part of the code.
Well, you cover
And
misbehaving.
you were very good at it.
You were excellent. I think you were better than I.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. So, now to the present day.
Yes.
No, let's go back, actually. Let's talk about you when you were but a lad in
right.
England.
Yeah.
You wanted to be a civil engineer, or you had a
No, I
civil
wanted to be
engineer
an
in the family?
architect.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
And?
My dad, my dad had an architecture pal, an architect, who said, "Don't put the lad in architecture, Fred. There's no money in it." So they sent me off to civil engineering school. But as soon as I was through with that, came to Vancouver.
And can you put a bridge together or anything? Build a road?
I think one of mine down in Washington State.
Oh, that one. The Skagit.
Yeah.
The Skagit event.
I guess if I sat down long enough in my slide ruler
Why not?
and got my old theory of structures books out, I could probably do a half-bottom job.
Yeah, morning television.
Absolutely.
The saxophone thing.
Yeah.
Did you toy with being a professional musician or
I
just
was,
play in
actually.
a band?
I was in the union. I was in the MU, the Musicians Union in Britain, not here. And when I came to Canada, I brought my, my fully stamped up union card and my letter from the MU to the AFFM, the American Federation of Musicians. And they wanted $100 to join the local here and $10 a week or something. And I think there were about a dozen people working, getting paid in Vancouver at that time. And they were all about 30 times better than me. So that's that.
Do you still play the saxophone?
Well, you can. It's like a bicycle, right? You can, but you need that mighty strong bottom lip. And if I play for 5 minutes on my old steel mouthpiece, it's like chopped liver in my mouth,
Who brought you to Canada? Why did you come to Canada?
Well, a bunch of friends of mine did too, but I always intended to from being a little kid, from being 9 or 10, because I've been fascinated by the salmon spawning off the Fraser River, when a teacher told us about that. And
so a salmon brought you to Canada?
In a manner of speaking,
speak?
yeah. And then it was at a time, 1957, there were a lot of people leaving Britain at that time, and a bunch of us sort of drifted.
And this picture thing?
Yeah.
Your first camera, your interest in taking pictures?
Oh, right back to being a little kid. Yeah, very young. My dad was, they say quite often that men do professionally what their dads did as a hobby. My dad was a hobbyist musician and a hobbyist photographer. And I did both of those things. And one of my brothers, my dad was a hobbyist carpenter and joiner. One of my brothers became a superb pattern maker. And so that's what, when I was just a little kid, I used to have a darkroom in the house and, take photographs and develop the film under a safe light.
Really?
Yeah.
And now you use
digital.
what kind of camera?
I've been using Canons for quite a number of years. I don't know whether they're particularly different to the others. It's just what I use.
And how do you get into these parties? Do the PR people call you?
Some do.
Do you just show up?
Sometimes.
If it's a funeral, can you go, or does the family have to say, okay, Mac, you can come, or how does it work?
I don't go to many funerals, mainly by the extraordinary good fortune that not many people I know seem to die. You know? But,
including yourself.
Yeah, I missed that. You know.
You did. That was an interesting dance, the cancer dance for you, because...
Well, you and I have both been through that.
I know, at two different ends of the body. Let's not talk about that.
Well, mine was in the middle.
Yours was in the middle. Okay, you know where mine was.
I think you did both of them.
I did, yeah. But that journey for you, that cancer journey, shocking, obviously.
Not all odd, actually. It's kind of odd. I found it more interesting than shocking. I never thought I'd die for some reason, although I only had a 12% chance of not dying. But the guy who did my work, Dr. John Yee, and I was his first patient, I think, when he came from the University of Michigan Hospital, we sat down just like this, and he drew out this thing, what he was going to do to me with this new operation that had been developed there by Dr. Mark Oranger. And maybe because of my engineering, I started to find it real fascinating, you know. And he said, we're going to cut all this out, then we're going to grab hold of the top of your stomach, and we're going to pull it all. I'm going to take out your spleen and a few other things and bring the stomach right up and stitch it here.
Really?
And I said, how the heck can you do, how could you do that? And he said, your stomach is your body's most flaccid organ. And my wife Nancy was with me. I turned to her and I said, what the heck does he know? You know, but in fact, that's exactly what they make it like a Cellini vase. They put this long neck on it.
Interesting. Yeah. And it was esophageal cancer, correct?
Yeah.
Now, your wife Nancy, I see her with you occasionally at some of these parties and business events. On occasion, lucky me, and obviously that marriage took.
It did, yeah.
And still takes.
Well, I got 40 years in. I'm sort of getting the hang of it.
You know, I read a great obit. I read obits. Don't know why.
Oh, we make a ton of money from obits.
Do you?
Well, the Sun.
Of course, the Vancouver Sun.
One of our best advertisements.
And most read. And there was a woman, she was married to an aviation engineer, and he died. And she said being married to an aviation artist. She said being married to an artist is never dull. And I loved him madly. But in our house, divorce was never a consideration, but murder occasionally.
Yeah,
every relationship, right?
I've known a few households like that.
Now, you photograph couples and you photograph stars. How do you pick them? You're at a business event, you're at a gala.
I still haven't worked that out. Yeah, you just look for interesting faces, you know.
So, but if you're at somebody's house, say you're at the Jessel's house or the...
Never been there.
Never been there. I haven't either. Maybe he'll invite us. Brian Jessel of BMW fame. You've got a picture of him that's going to be in the show with Jay Leno. Is that the car connection?
Yeah, that was at one of those, he puts on a thing every year called Cabriolet. And, you know, he's had a few pretty heavy hitters there, including Jay,
Yes, I remember I get invited. Sometimes I can't pay the price. But I often get invited. Great picture of Bobby Orr and Brian Burke. What was that about? Do you remember, sir?
I think it was probably a BC Sports Hall of Fame
They're younger.
banquet. Yeah, would have been several years ago. I go there every year, and you know they bring on some people that you really thought had gone underground or underwater a long time ago. You know, veteran teams and everything.
But Orr was just in town, I think, talking about hockey and safety in hockey and changing rules. Yes. Did you see him?
No.
Did you see Trump?
No, I didn't. But, you know, Pete McMartin had 10 minutes with him and got a heck of a good column in today's paper out of that 10 minutes. Just staggered how much. It takes me like 5 hours to get that much stuff.
And Jill Bennett reported Jill Bennett apparently fluffed his hair. I saw it last night on Global.
How do you like my hair, by the way?
I like your hair. Very nice. But imagine you're Donald Trump and you have many things you do, and the first thing that comes up, I've never seen an interview that the hair thing doesn't come up.
Right.
Well, she tugged it and swears it's the real thing. It's his hair.
That's
So good. So who cares?
Talking about endurance, that building is an enduro, right? It used to be Shell Oil, and then that, the Hong Kong club was going to move in there.
Just the one on Georgia and Thurlow. Georgia and right up the street.
Yeah, it's between Thurlow and Butte.
Yeah, it's twisty when it's built. And
Yeah, Arthur Erickson designed that. And,
right.
And they're going to do the units smaller. But, I mean, all those iterations over the years, we thought it would never go up, you know.
Well,
I'm sure Ian Gillespie never wanted it to go up because he's got,
Yes.
Shangri-La across the street.
exactly. And he's a, talented lad. He's in one of your columns. Is it today's?
Yeah, there's
Gillespie?
a picture. There's a photo of him with Darren Entwistle. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So now back to Christy Clark and Gregor Robertson.
Yeah.
They're in the paper together.
Right.
Do you have to ask permission when you say, or do you just snap? It looks like this is posed.
Clearly, if somebody
gala.
doesn't want you to do it, they're going to say, beat it. But most people are obliging. I'm probably the least likely to be photographed myself. I always deter people if I can.
From taking your picture?
Yeah, but very few people otherwise. Patrick Kinsella doesn't like to be photographed, but, I just want to, not too many.
He doesn't. Yeah, Tory.
And
For people who don't
he's very
know, Patrick
wise not to.
Kinsella, and a definitely rainmaker for political types.
Yeah, and classic backroom guy, and I can understand it, respect it. I even think, good for you. Why would you want to be photographed? It's the exact opposite of what he's actually real good at. So.
But I suspect there might be the odd person who always wants to be in the picture.
Oh, there's bound
and
to
in
be
the
some,
paper.
Yeah, and occasionally you think, oh well, best of luck.
Best of luck. I've been in your column once.
Yeah. Oh.
I was in my little black leather outfit. I remember.
Boy.
I don't know. It was many moons ago. I have no idea why, but I was.
Why are you wearing
through.
the outfit? You mean?
No, why you put me in the paper?
Can't remember why.
Maybe
A quiet day.
Maybe a quiet day. It was a slow day at the Sun, and it may have been because you were in the glossy magazine business too, and took pictures
Correct,
for the Van Mag. Still do. Editor of Vancouver Magazine. How many years?
16, I think.
And then you had another magazine incarnation.
Yeah,
Vista?
well, we started a bunch of others with that. We started Calgary and Edmonton, and we had one in Montreal called New. We had an in-flight for Alaska Airlines when it was just a little hub and spoke, little straight line, Seattle to Anchorage.
Do you think glossies will be around in 10 years? Do you think we will still be leafing through magazines?
Never ask me to predict anything. Go to the racetrack with me, because whatever I predict ain't going to happen.
Okay. I'll take note.
Especially at the track.
We'll return with Vancouver Sun columnist Mac Parry, the go-to columnist for public relations people and event organizers. Getting Mac at your party or business event is top of the list.